Lily, are you really getting married? That's the rumor I heard. Surely not. At your age?
Weren't you listening at the morning meeting?
That's when everyone else asked me, but when I saw the wedding invitation on my desk, I was so surprised I couldn't help asking you directly to make sure it was for real. I never thought you would be able to tie the knot. That's hilarious.
Hey, is that any way to talk to your boss? Show some respect, will ya? So, where were you this morning then, when the boss announced it to the whole office?
In the toilet? Dunno. Can't remember. I didn't get home until 3 this morning and spent most of the time after that hugging the toilet, if you know what I mean. What a night, though. What I can remember of it is brilliant. He must have announced it before I got there. Or when I was throwing up again.
Gross. This isn't a good look, Noeline. You can't be out partying all night and show up to work in this condition.
Hey now, don't be like that. It's called a tactical vomit. Otherwise, I'd never have been able to eat breakfast. Don't you ever have fun? Or have you forgotten what it's like, Grandma?
I go out with my friends from time to time, and it might surprise you to hear that I have been known to have a glass of wine or two. Just enough for me to feel good.
That's where you're going wrong. You don't want to feel good. You want to feel terrible. I woke up on a bench outside a children's hospital. I felt so sick I thought about checking myself in for the day. I was missing a shoe, but I didn't want to be late for work, so I ran all the way here. Luckily, I made it on time.
You didn't make it here on time. Did you tell the office you were late again?
No need. It was only by about 10 minutes, I think. Nobody noticed.
You still have to report it if you are even a few minutes late. It's company policy. You know how strict the security is here.
All right, calm down. You don't have to lecture me. Jeez, I was feeling horrendous. I was living on borrowed time last night. Borrowed from today. Oh, I think I'm going to be sick again. Anyway, more about this engagement of yours. So, you hadn't given up on marriage altogether?
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you are 38 after all. I would have thought at that age, you'd have just resigned yourself to living out your days alone as an old maid. Is there really any point getting married at that age? Having kids must be out of the question. Who wants a mom old enough to be their grandmother?
Just what are you implying? Whether I get married or not is my decision. It's a free country, isn't it? What does it have to do with you?
Yeah, nothing to do with me, and you are free to marry whoever and whenever you like. But... I mean, you're getting on in years, so I can't help wondering how old your fiancé is. If he or she is marrying you, he or she must be just as ancient as you, right?
He is 40. Did you really not hear anything from the others? Well, there are accidents too.
Whatever. But hey, Lily, 40? Ew, no way. That's old enough to be a grandfather. Talk about over the hill. When my dad was 40, I was 21. People actually get married at that age, huh? Wow. It really will be a senior wedding. Will the decorations all be gray? Can you even get gray flowers? Hey, you should have the ceremony in the fall so you can throw buckets of fallen leaves instead of confetti. Well, if nothing else, I learned something today. I'll need to have a nap at my desk to sleep off this vicious hangover, so I doubt I'll get much done, but at least I found out that seniors can get married too.
Senior? What the hell do our ages have to do with you?
God, I can't even imagine how boring a senior wedding would be. You'd better have it in the morning so the guests can all make it to the end without falling asleep.
I gave you an invitation for what it's worth. I'll leave it up to you whether you attend or not. If you think it's going to be a boring waste of time, then feel free to decline the invite. We won't be drinking and throwing up until 3 a.m., if that's what you need to have a good time.
Yeah. I'm actually asking because I'm getting married too.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that.
Yep. My boyfriend proposed and I said yes. so I've got to have a ceremony too.
Congratulations.
Don't you think the rest of the office would rather come to my wedding? I mean, the age difference alone is a no-brainer. And yes, there will be partying and vomiting until 3 a.m. for those who want it.
What are you getting at?
Well, everyone will be dying to see me in my wedding dress, won't they? I don't think anyone will be all that interested in seeing a woman of your age. Where's the glamour and excitement? I mean, you aren't ugly, not at all. In fact, from a certain angle, some might say you were kinda pretty. Hints of a not unattractive youth still shining through the cracks. But now…
Well, you might be right. You are… How old are you? About 25? You'll look good all done up in a beautiful dress. And the hair and makeup. I just don't see why you need to compare yourself with me. What's the point? Our weddings will be completely different.
I'm just trying to be realistic. If you don't get married in your 20s, this is what happens. You should have done this long ago.
I don't see the problem. I never wanted to get married too young. I was pursuing a career. Now everything has come together and I'm ready. Why would you even bother to have this conversation with me? I don't regret not getting married in my 20s. Why would I? I didn't have any money back then. Life would have been tough. Everyone is different. One of my friends in high school got married to her boyfriend the day after they graduated. She divorced him less than a year later. When the timing is right, you just know.
When the time is right, you'll know. Don't show off and try to make it sound like some romantic fairy tale. You're just getting married late.
I'm just stating facts. I'm not trying to show off. I wasn't ready to get married in my 20s, and now I am. It's as simple as that. Is there any reason for you wanting to compare us? I'll have my wedding my way, and you can do whatever you like with yours. Right?
Yeah, about that. I guess you'll find out on the day of your ceremony.
What does that mean?
You'll find out just how much people value you on the day of your wedding.
You'll find out just how much people value you on the day of your wedding. Is that a saying where you are from? I've never heard it before.
No, it's not a saying. It's something I'm saying. To you. You'll find out your worth to others on your wedding day.
I don't think you can judge what people think of you on just one day. That seems awfully shallow. And anyway, your sense of worth doesn't come from other people. It comes from confidence in yourself. And experience.
That's not up to you to decide, Grandma.
Hi. Did you give out the wedding invitations?
Yep, this morning. You?
Yeah, me too.
Good. So it's really going ahead then. I thought this day would never come.
Sorry for making you wait so long.
Hey, come on. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not complaining. I'm just looking forward to finally making it official. I was quite happy to just carry on the way we have been. I don't have a single complaint. It just hasn't sunk in yet that we are actually going to do it.
Well, I told you I'd do it properly down on one knee when my situation allowed it.
Yeah, you did. I'm grateful you thought the whole thing through. I think we've picked a good time to announce it.
I really appreciate your patience. I'll be here for you from now on.
You've already done enough. Thank you, Luke. I'm really looking forward to the wedding. Do you think everyone will come?
Of course. What possible reason would anyone have to not be at your wedding? How was the reaction of the team in your office? Did they all agree to come?
I wonder. There's one who I'm not too sure about.
What do you mean? Did someone get on your bad side? Not that I think you have one.
Maybe I'm just being paranoid and I don't have any proof, but I get the feeling one of the office girls is planning something.
Good morning, Grandma. Today is the day of your wedding, too, isn't it?
Grandma, you really don't know when you've crossed the line, do you? And yes, today is the day. What do you mean by your wedding, too?
I can't make it. Sorry.
When you didn't reply, I assumed as much. I wished you'd told me directly and a bit sooner, though. Just in case I had a seat for you at our office table, near the bar.
I reckon all of those seats are gonna go to waste.
Why is that? What do you mean?
I doubt anyone will be going to your ceremony. That's what I mean. It's a shame. I know you will have been looking forward to it. But it can't be avoided, can it? I mean, who wants to be seen at the gray wedding anyway?
Hey, give it a rest with the old people jokes, would you? I'm your boss and you should show some respect.
Yes, I see. Surprise! Today is my wedding day too.
What?
So what I've been trying to say is that nobody is going to go to your wedding when given the choice of A, the young couple's wedding, which is guaranteed to be fun, and B, Grandma's wedding, where there will be special parking for mobility scooters and nurses standing by in case anyone's heart stops.
So, you are getting married today too? Did you plan it this way? Force people to choose in the hope that nobody came to mind? Was that your plan?
Now you are starting to get it. When I found out that you were planning to have your wedding on the same day as mine, I knew for sure that people would ditch yours in favor of mine. I wasn't worried at all. I was actually looking forward to it. I mean, I'm not an evil person at heart, but the competition, or lack of it, gave me a little thrill. You'd feel so embarrassed when everyone canceled at the last minute and flocked to my venue. I can't deny I was enjoying the thought of taking you down a peg or two. Always waltzing around the office like the boss of the whole company.
So, you deliberately arranged your wedding to be on the same day to embarrass me? You shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, well, I did. And now no one is going to be at your wedding. What's done is done, so you'll just have to suck it up and say your vows to an empty church.
You're probably right. I'm just wondering though, did everyone actually say that they were going to be at your wedding? I mean, you have assumed that they would all choose you over me, but did you hear them say that? To your face? You think they'll all show up?
Of course they will. What a stupid question. Cool young people like us don't bother with old-fashioned things like invites. How many trees had to be sacrificed so you could have nice invitations? No, I just sent out WhatsApp messages last night. It was sudden, so people haven't replied yet. They'll be busy changing taxi plans and presents and things like that. But they'll all be here.
Well, I've got to admire your confidence.
Sorry our days clashed and left you without any guests. Mine will be here any minute.
Everyone on my guest list is here, except you.
What?
I really don't understand why you were so confident everyone would just suddenly change and go to your wedding, but everyone is here. We're about to start.
How? What? Why?
I've just been told the chapel doors are open and people are moving in from the lobby. I feel a tiny bit guilty, though. I mean, I'm sure that even though most people were happy to accept the invitation, there may have been a few that felt it was an obligation.
What is? Why?
So, you never even read the invitation? So you didn't read the name of the man I'm marrying?
What do you mean?
My fiancé is the president of this company. You really should have taken the time to read the invite. Or perhaps you did read it, but don't even know the name of the president? I'm not sure which is worse. But whichever is the case, both are equally as big a mistake, and in the end, it doesn't really matter, does it?
What? Nobody told me. How was I supposed to know that? And why are you marrying the damn president? Is it the new president?
The one and only.
No! That's not possible. He's the head of the Zurich branch. He's not even in this country. How can you be marrying him?
We managed to stay together even though he was on the other side of the planet. That part actually made it easy to keep our relationship a secret.
No way. You're just saying this to get back at me for taking all your wedding guests, aren't you? I thought you were getting old and starting to panic about being single forever. That's why you decided to marry any old guy that would take you.
We waited while he was posted to the Zurich office, but when we knew Luke would be the next president, we knew he'd be coming back. So we started talking seriously about getting married. So I wasn't ever worried about being single forever, as you imagined. Remember what I said about timing?
Yeah, but why didn't you tell me? You could have said something before I went and made an idiot of myself. You're marrying the president. Of course everyone is going to be there. They'd be too scared not to attend.
True. But I don't think anyone really feels forced. He's a great boss, and I've never heard anyone complain. Remember, no one knew about us. Anyway, everyone is here having a great time. It should be a reception. You are the only one not here, but that doesn't really matter.
Why would you say something like that?
Well, you'll be quitting on Monday, won't you? I mean, that's what you always wanted, right? Get married young and then become a homemaker?
Well, yeah, but I haven't said when I was leaving. I still haven't decided.
Oh, you hadn't? Then that's really not the best attitude to be showing at work, is it? Basically, with a new president to try and impress.
My attitude?
You never take any of my advice. You also never make any attempt to improve yourself. Never come to training sessions, and you're late most days. Did I miss any? Oh, yes. Assuming that people would just not show up to the president's wedding in favor of yours. That's a fatal error.
Wait a moment, So, not a single person from work will be coming here?
I don't know what time your wedding starts, but everyone from the office is here. Right now. I'm looking at them filing into the chapel on the monitor in the bride's waiting room. Even Jimmy from accounts made it, and his mother's funeral was yesterday. Yep, everyone has come.
What about me?
Well, you've got your wedding to attend. You'd be best to focus on that. It's your big day, after all.
That's easy for you to say, but if no one comes, I can't have a ceremony, can I?
Sure you can. People do it all the time.
No, you don't understand. I've only invited people from work.
Well, that was silly. Why'd you go and do that?
The venue can only cater for 50 people, so I only invited the staff. I thought they'd all come.
I don't think people will finish up here and then go there. You don't usually attend 2 weddings on the same day. Has nobody answered your text invite?
Some did. They reacted as if I was joking. Some of them just sent lol and clown emojis. A few eggplants, too. I didn't understand that.
That'll be it. People must have thought you were joking. Who would do something so monumentally stupid as to try and have their wedding when the president and his bride had already sent out invitations? They'd have to be absolutely bonkers.
Oh, so it's true then. No one is coming to my wedding.
Yep. And to think, this whole thing started because you wanted to humiliate me. That backfired spectacularly. I kind of feel sorry for you, but it's beyond my power to fix.
This is all too much to take. Why, oh why didn't you tell me you were marrying the president? You didn't give me the most important piece of information. Now my life is ruined.
That's rubbish. I told everyone at the morning meeting before you launched your crusade to humiliate and belittle me. It's not my fault if you were late and missed the meeting. It shows how little you respect the company if you didn't even bother to ask what was in the meeting. I hate to say it, but if I were you, I would consider the fact that nobody bothered to tell you a pretty good indication of your worth. No?
This is the worst day of my life. I even paid extra to have my wedding today so it was the same day as yours.
It's a mystery to me why you'd even want to do that in the first place.
Oh, this sucks. I want to crawl into a cave and die.
If you still intend to show your face at the office, I'd try and learn some basic manners. Common sense, too. And stop calling me Grandma. Got it?
You won't tell the boss, will you? He'll fire me. Please don't tell him.
If you really do value your job, then you'd better start making more use of yourself. If being young is your only attribute, then I'll fire you myself. And learn to show some respect. In the end, not a single guest showed up at Noeline's wedding. She was forced to cancel and hang her head in shame. The groom and his family basically chased her out of the chapel when they found out the reason. The groom's mother refused to let her son marry such a trivial and shallow woman. Looking back, he pretty much counts as lucky stars he avoided what would have probably been a troubled marriage. Noeline was left with a huge debt to pay for an empty venue. So even though quitting her job would have been the best option, she was forced to stay on. She goes about her work every day in humiliation without speaking to anyone unless absolutely necessary. She can't bear to look me or the president in the eye. She has learned how to say please and thank you, so I guess that's a start. Who knows? Maybe one day she'll work her way up to being a pleasant young woman. But by then she'll probably be so old that the office girls call her Grandma.
Hey you, I heard that you closed another deal recently. Don't you think that you're getting a bit carried away?
Ralph, how are you? Yes, it's true that I just finalized another contract. Things have been going very well for me since I started working here. It's been such a smooth transition thanks to everyone's support. And no, there's absolutely no reason for me to get carried away.
Yeah, right. So what if you had the highest number of contracts closed this month? The bottom line is that you're just a woman, and you'll never measure up to the rest of us in the department. You were just a bit luckier than the rest of us this month. Don't think that you can go around bragging about your performance just because our manager happened to compliment your efforts. Besides, you've only been here a few months, so you can't do a man's share of the work even if you tried. If you're gonna be acting like some big shot for getting a few contracts, you should just stick to making coffee for the real business specialists here. All of your male colleagues could use a cup of coffee, or two.
That's extremely sexist of you. What do you think would happen if I report this sort of gender discrimination to HR?
Oh, be quiet. So what if you decide to report me? It's not like they can do anything about it. And who do you think you are talking to me like that? I'm your senior. Do what you want, but let me tell you now that you'll just regret it later.
Is that also a threat? Ralph, you really should stop saying things like that. Don't you have any shame? Just because you're my senior doesn't mean that you can get away with anything you want.
Oh, you poor woman. Do you really think that defying me like that will actually get you anywhere in this company? You must be missing some screws in your head or something.
You must think you can look down on me just because I'm a mid-career hire. I might be the newest one in this company, but don't forget that I have just as much experience as you in this industry. Or are you just acting that way because I'm a woman? I hope not, because gender discrimination is such a thing of the past.
You're really bossy, aren't you? That's why I can't stand women like you. You always have one too many things to say. And especially since I'm your senior, you have no right to talk to me like that. Don't be so full of yourself just because you closed the most contracts in our department this month. I'm sure it was just beginner's luck. Do you think that makes you so great all of a sudden?
Of course not. I don't think I'm any more distinguished than anyone here. But I worked really hard to get those contracts, so it was just the result of my efforts. It was definitely not because of luck.
Huh? But you don't think that makes you some kind of elite employee or anything, do you? It's pretty obvious that I'm more elite than you, so don't think that you can easily surpass my reputation.
I'm not so sure about that. I haven't heard of you getting any new contracts recently. Are you really being proactive towards your sales?
What? How dare you say such a thing?
My latest contract is worth $500,000, just to let you know. And if I remember correctly, you haven't gotten a single contract yet this month.
You know what? I just thought of a really great idea. I'm gonna take over your contract from now.
Excuse me? What are you talking about?
You heard me. Let me handle the contract from now, and I'll just take the credit for the whole thing. It's such a genius idea. I can't believe I never thought of it before now.
How can you even suggest such a ridiculous thing? That's absolutely impossible.
That's where you're wrong, because I can make it happen. It's exactly how I've built up my elite reputation here.
How can you proudly admit to such a terrible thing? What you've been doing is fraud. You better not try and play any games with me because you won't get away with it. I really hope that you're not serious about trying to steal my contract. There's nothing more unprofessional than that.
How many times do I have to remind you that I'm your senior? Your role is to listen and do exactly as I say. Besides, you were just lucky this time around. You're not going to be able to keep this up, believe me. Even regarding your latest contract, aren't you still in the negotiation phase?
Well, we haven't finalized the terms yet, but based on our latest meeting, it's pretty much a closed deal. So please don't try and mess anything up.
Don't be ridiculous. I only want to show you how a successful business discussion should look like, so let me take over the final negotiations with the client.
Excuse me?
There's no way that an inexperienced woman like you could lead such an important meeting. It'll be much better for our company if I'm involved in the negotiations. I'm certain that I'll be able to get them to accept our terms.
That's not the issue here. I've worked with this client for over a month until they finally agreed to sign the contract with us. Besides, it'll be impossible for you to take over the negotiations this late in the game. I really don't think that's a good idea.
Don't worry, anything that you can do, I can certainly do much better. You'll see.
You don't understand. It'll just cause a huge problem. I can't let you handle this.
Oh, be quiet. You just keep your mouth shut and watch me do my thing. I don't need your help whatsoever.
Have you been listening to anything I've said? I really hope that you're not serious about stealing this contract from me. You're better off putting some effort into getting your own contracts. Nothing good will come out of doing dishonest work.
So, the final negotiation for your latest contract is just one day away. It's one of our largest contracts this month. Are you prepared for the meeting?
Of course! I've dedicated most of my time this week in preparing the final presentation. I'm just going through the details now to make sure that nothing is missing.
How impressive. I knew that I could count on you to be our department's hope. I hope that you'll keep up your great work and continue contributing to this department. I'm looking forward to your further success.
Thank you very much. I'll do my best so that I'm able to meet your expectations.
Your proficient language skills really made a big difference this time. I'm sure that it will be an advantage to our department to have someone as capable as you. It's also a possibility that I'll be promoted to general manager depending on how the latest contract works out. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the future of our department depends on your skills.
I'm quite confident that I'll be able to make a positive contribution here.
I'm glad to hear that, but I was a bit surprised to hear about Rolf this time. Is it true that he was the one leading the negotiations for your contract?
Excuse me? I don't understand what you mean.
He's already reported to me how everything went. I just didn't realize that he was involved in this contract to begin with.
I'm sorry to inform you, but Ralph has nothing to do with this contract whatsoever.
I was informed that he was going to be leading the final meeting tomorrow. Is that not the case?
As far as I'm concerned, no.
There must be some kind of misunderstanding in that case. Please make sure that you clear this up by tomorrow. We wouldn't want to lose a contract that's potentially worth $500,000 just because of some internal discord.
Of course, that'll never happen. There's a perfectly legitimate reason why Ralph is unable to lead this meeting. I promise that I'll deal with this matter thoroughly, so please don't worry about it. Ralph, this is your doing, isn't it? What were you thinking, locking me in the storage closet like this? Let me out right now.
Of course it was me. Why don't you just organize the documents in there or something, while I go finalize negotiations on my contract?
That's ridiculous. This is my contract and you know it. I can't believe that you would intentionally sabotage my work like this.
I'm not sabotaging anything. The contract is still here. It's just that having a more experienced senior like me take over this meeting would better benefit everyone involved. So leave the important discussions up to me, and you don't need to worry your little head about getting more clients. That's a man's job anyway. You can keep yourself busy with making coffee for the office, or organizing our filing system, or something.
Don't be ridiculous. This is my contract, and I was the one handling every aspect of this deal from the very beginning. It's unprofessional that I won't be present during our final meeting, and I'm certain that the client will be extremely uncomfortable dealing with someone with no connection to this contract. Please, you'll just end up making a mess out of everything I've worked on.
It's too late anyways. Even if you get out now, you'll never make it in time for the meeting. Don't worry, I have all the information that I need right here in the presentation that you prepared.
It doesn't matter that you have the presentation. Haven't you been listening to anything I've been saying? It's impossible for you to negotiate any terms with this particular client. It's starting to feel like a waste of time even trying to convince you otherwise.
Whatever, but let me tell you one last time. You're just a woman. If you think that you can be considered our equals, you're completely wrong. We're all elite men here, and we're definitely not of the same rank. Besides, you weren't even working here until a few months ago. There's no way that someone inexperienced like you could close off a deal that's worth $500,000. Like I said, let me handle the final negotiations, and you just stick to bringing the coffee.
Fine. In that case, I hope that you're proficient in Hungarian.
What?
If you're so adamant about taking over this contract, it means that you can lead the discussion in Hungarian, right? You do know that the client is from Hungary.
They're Hungarian?
Yes, why do you seem so surprised? Don't tell me that you were planning to go into this meeting without even knowing anything about the client. I see why your performance has been so terrible lately.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the client being Hungarian. I'm sure that they can also speak English. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so willing to sign the deal with us. It won't be a problem, right? I don't see the reason why this meeting has to be conducted in Hungarian. They must speak English to a certain degree.
That's exactly the sort of behavior that gets in the way of you getting ahead in your career.
Huh? How dare you say such a thing?
Well, the reason why we were able to connect with this company in the first place is because I reached out to them in Mandarin. We never had the opportunity to propose any offer to them before because of the language barrier. Of course, the client is able to communicate in English, but they do business all over the world. But by communicating with them in their native language, they understand our sincerity in wanting to do business with them. And of course, they felt more at ease that they could communicate in their mother tongue. So isn't it obvious that the final meeting with them should take place in Hungarian as well?
You're kidding, right?
I bet you're not feeling so elite right now after hearing all this, huh? You must feel nervous about going into that meeting, especially since you won't be able to even have a single conversation with the client. It's like you're going in there to dig your own grave.
Are you really sure that this meeting has to take place in Hungarian? That makes no sense.
You can't do it, right? Of course not. And I've been telling you from the beginning that you're incapable of handling this meeting. Unless you all of a sudden became fluent in Hungarian in the past few minutes.
Be quiet.
You see, you should have listened to what I've been saying all this time. But you went behind my back and even involved Philip in all this. How are you going to take responsibility if this meeting ends in a catastrophe? It would be your fault if all my work with this client goes to waste.
How come you're fluent in Hungarian in the first place? You were just hired like 2 months ago.
What difference does it make whether I was hired as a mid-career recruit or as a new college graduate? I have the skills and experience that this position requires. Besides, getting hired mid-career is a tougher process if you ask some people. So I'm sure that the managers were certain that I would make a positive contribution here before offering me the job.
What skills? You mean your ability to grovel at the manager's feet so they reluctantly have to take you in? Why don't you tell me exactly what it is that you think you can do?
Are you really that clueless? As a matter of fact, I'm completely fluent in 5 languages.
What?
I've heard you bragging that you speak Spanish fluently because you lived in South America for a few years. But the last time we had a video conference with our client in Argentina, you were completely silent the entire time. Are you really sure that you understand the language? Because it didn't seem like you even realized they were asking some questions at the end.
That's not true. That was just a network problem, and I couldn't hear what they were saying.
How is that possible? We were all connected to the same in-office network, so it wouldn't make sense that you were the only one having network issues. It's obvious that you have no idea what the client was saying, so stop trying to make excuses for yourself. Are you sure that you can really speak Spanish?
That has nothing to do with what's going on right now.
You're absolutely right. Because the meeting you're about to lead right now will be with our Hungarian client. It wouldn't be any use even if you were fluent in Spanish.
What am I supposed to do now? There's no way I can do this in Hungarian. What about the presentation materials? I can just refer to them, right? Or why don't I just have them look through everything themselves?
Just so you know, all the documents are in Hungarian. Are you even able to read any of it?
What?
If you're not even able to comprehend any of the materials, how are you planning on discussing anything with the clients? I hope you weren't just planning to hand out the documents and have them sign the contract. That's not how a business negotiation works.
This isn't how it was supposed to be. You better fix this right now.
And how exactly do you expect me to help you? You locked me inside the storage closet, remember? Perhaps you finally realize what a huge mistake you've made. If I'm not present for that meeting, I can assure you that the client is very likely to break off negotiations with us. And if we lose this contract, it would be a huge blow to our department, or rather, the entire company's reputation. I hope you know that it's all going to be your responsibility.
I'm not taking responsibility for anything.
But this is all because you let your ego get in the way. I can't believe how childish you're acting. You seem to think that there's nothing wrong with tricking someone as long as you benefit from their despair. That's why you're stuck in this dilemma right now. And besides, this isn't the first time you're doing something like this, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you sure? I know for a fact that this isn't the first time you're trying to take the credit for someone else's achievements. You've done this sort of thing repeatedly in the past. Perhaps since it was the only way to keep your performance from falling behind everyone else? Are you trying to imply that you can order people around just because you have seniority? Stop trying to fool yourself already. That's not how things work in a professional environment.
How do you even know about all that? It doesn't even have anything to do with you.
You're right. It's nothing that concerns me personally. But what if I decide to report this to our manager or to HR? What do you think will happen then?
What? You can't do that.
Do you want to know what I think will happen? Your so-called reputation as an elite employee will be ruined, and I'm sure you'll lose all possibility of any kind of promotion. Or perhaps you were never on your way for a promotion to begin with.
You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm one of the top consultants in this department. Of course I'm elite. Don't you dare try and make it seem otherwise.
If you claim to be such an elite consultant, why don't you do the work that's equivalent to that kind of status? As far as I can tell, you're just all talk and have nothing to prove your ability to get any work done. Stop trying to make up for your lack of skill with your overinflated ego.
It's not that I lack the skills. Just forget about all that and get over here right now. Stop wasting any more time. I'll let you sit in on this meeting as my assistant.
No thanks. I don't think I'll be joining you for that meeting. I have no intention of helping you whatsoever. Go ahead and make a fool of yourself in front of everyone for all I care. I'll at least wish you the best of luck in getting through that meeting in Hungarian. After that, Ralph ended up going into the meeting on his own and tried to get through it in English. But his lack of consideration not only caused the client to be offended, but they were so angered that they immediately canceled the meeting and kicked him out of the room. We soon received a call from the client specifically requesting that Sheila be the only one handling their negotiations. And they were very adamant about Ralph not being allowed anywhere near the contract. It didn't take long for everyone to find out that he was the culprit behind this incident, from locking Sheila inside the storage closet to lying about who should get the credit for this work. It wasn't a surprise that he was punished with a pay cut, and everyone in the department started giving him the cold shoulder before long. He became the laughingstock of the office and was a complete embarrassment both in and out of the office. On the other hand, Sheila was given a promotion for her accomplishments, whereas Ralph was ordered to work under my management. I hope that he's completely humiliated by this reversal of roles. I don't know how many employees he's bullied like this until now, but it makes me smile to know that all the new hires we had this year, including Sheila, have already been promoted to a higher position than him. He brought this all upon himself and absolutely deserves to be left behind like this. What time are you going to be home tonight, sweetie? Are you going to be home for dinner?
Yeah, I will. I'll be home when I feel like it.
When exactly is that? I need to be able to plan at least a little. Can't you give me a rough estimate at least?
I don't know, whenever I feel like it.
You can't even give me a guess? Or tell me why at the very least?
It's just work stuff, nothing you'd understand. It's too complicated to explain to you. Why does it matter when I get home anyway?
Because I have stuff to do myself. I work and take care of the house. I don't really have a lot of time to lose. If you had to take care of the house and kids and work too, maybe you'd get it.
How do you not have time? You work from home and just write all day. There's no way you don't have plenty of time. Maybe you need to learn to manage your time better.
I manage my time just fine, thank you. I hardly waste a minute. Speaking of, I am wasting plenty talking to you. I still have an article to finish by tonight. I was gonna cook, but you can find your own dinner tonight. I don't have the time.
Didn't you just ask me when I was getting home so you could cook?
If you're not going to tell me, why bother trying to work around your mysterious, unknowable schedule? I'm not a psychic. I have things I need to get done. I've got a ton of deadlines to meet and articles to review. I'm not dropping it all to cook for you whenever you feel like turning up.
You're being super selfish. I work all day to provide for our family, and you can't even bother to cook one meal? You just sit around and do nothing all day. I work and I get nothing for it.
I make nearly as much as you, and I take care of the house. You hardly help at all. In 20 years, you haven't even as much as washed a dish.
In 20 years, all you've done is get fat.
Excuse me? How dare you say that to me?
I didn't say it. Carl from work did. He told me it must be hard to face your friends with how fat you've gotten.
Wow, that's incredibly rude of him. And even worse for you to repeat it. Carl isn't exactly a model himself. Who is he to be talking about other people's weight? Not to mention you could stand to lose a few pounds yourself, Kevin.
All I'm saying is you could put more work into your appearance. Honestly, it makes everyone uncomfortable. Even Ricky tells me about how much he hates being around you.
What do you mean?
It's just unpleasant to be around you when you eat. You're like a pig. The sounds you make when you eat are repulsive. Carl said you shouldn't be making pork chops anymore because it's like you're a cannibal. And Ricky told me you smell like bacon.
Why are you telling me all this? I do everything to support this family, and all you do is insult me. I'm really not interested in what your rude coworkers have to say about me.
I'm the one supporting this family. I'm the one putting the food on the table. Maybe if you lost some weight, you might get all that gunk clogging up your arteries and you could get some more blood to your brain. Then you could get all of this through your thick head and figure out how to do something for the family.
Maybe if you hadn't been fired from your last job, we'd have enough money to where I wouldn't have to work all day and raise our kid. You're making half of what you used to. And between Ricky's tuition and our normal bills, we hardly have enough for the three of us, even with me working.
Yeah, whatever, fatty. I don't feel like listening to this anymore. Let me deal with the money. You should be dealing with all the rest. Carl's wife does everything for him, and she has a part-time job to boot.
Why are you comparing me to her? He makes way more than you do. He can afford to have a single income. His wife doesn't even really work. She's in one of those direct marketing things. She just has parties and sells overpriced makeup to her tennis friends. And I'm pretty sure they have a live-in maid. I don't think I've ever seen Laura do anything other than shop and go to lunch with her friends.
I'm comparing you to her because she's an actual wife. She's skinny and beautiful and knows how to treat her husband right. You're just a selfish, useless hag.
I'm not taking any more of this. If you want to eat a home-cooked meal, make it yourself. I'm done with this conversation. Ricky, when are you going to be home? Are you planning on eating dinner with us?
Nah, I'm good.
Aren't you hungry? It's just about ready.
I already ate. Can't you eat it yourself? I've seen you pig out before. I'm sure you could finish it all.
What's up with you? How can you talk to your own mother like that?
Are you gonna start lecturing me? Dad's right. You're a real stupid tub of lard.
How dare you speak to me like that? I can't believe you'd say anything like that, especially to me.
Why shouldn't I? You hardly do anything for me or Dad. You just act like a victim when all Dad does is support us. All you do is stay at home and stuff your face. That's why you blew up like a balloon this past year.
You have absolutely no right to talk to me this way. You're being incredibly hurtful.
Why should I care about a wild hog like you?
If this is really how you're going to treat me, I'm done. You and your father clearly don't care about me at all.
Yeah, why should we? What have you done for either of us? We don't need a pig like you hanging around. Dad's done nothing but work hard to raise me. What have you even done? Maybe if you lost a little weight, you might get motivated to do something for a change. Other than eat, of course.
Are the two of you really not paying any attention to what I do? You know what? It doesn't matter. Why am I even asking? You clearly don't care what I say. I'm just wasting my time.
Yeah, you are. I don't really want to be seen with you anyway. All my friends think you're a nasty pig. Let me know when you've lost some weight. Maybe then I'll be able to look at you.
You won't have to look at me anymore.
Oh, really? That'd be great!
If I'm really that awful to be around, then I won't be around. Bye. Good luck with school. I guess you never came home last night. I did end up cooking after all, but the plate I made for you was still in the fridge this morning. I even called your work, and your nice receptionist told me that you left the office at 3 to go drinking with your coworkers.
I didn't feel like coming home after all. It didn't seem worth it to bother with you anymore.
Is that so?
I talked a bit with Ricky, though. He said you were in a mood and it wasn't worth it to come home. So I crashed at Carl's place. Why don't you just get out? Leave Ricky and me alone.
Do you want me to leave? Ricky said the same thing.
Yeah, I do. Ricky told me what you said to him yesterday. All you know is how to whine, huh?
So what you're saying is you'd be happier if we got divorced and I left.
Yeah, didn't you get that? Ricky and I would both be glad to see you gone.
Do you really hate me that much? Did you ever really love me?
Did I really love you? Wow, you've got to be kidding me. I tolerated you for a while, I guess. Maybe I did love you at some point. But after 20 years, I can hardly remember if I did or not. And now that you're a fat beast, I definitely don't. I don't think anyone could love someone that looks like you. And Ricky and I both don't want to live with you wallowing around anymore.
If that's how you really feel, I'll leave. It's not worth trying with you two anyway.
Great. We'll be glad to see you leave. Hopefully you can haul your fat self out the house before I get home. If you can even walk. Maybe you should get one of those motorized scooters. Not sure if they make them big enough for you, though.
Fine. If that's how you want it, we can get a divorce. My lawyer will send you the divorce papers as soon as she can. All you need to do is sign and we can end this.
Sounds good to me. I'll sign them the moment I get them.
If you need anything, you can talk to my lawyer from now on. Bye.
Honey, where are you? When are you coming home?
Honey? I'm not your honey. Are you sure you're texting the right person?
No, I definitely am. You're definitely Susan, right?
I might be Susan, but I'm definitely no one's honey, least of all yours. I'm pretty sure I stopped being your honey when you and your son kicked me out of my own home. I may have been your honey at one point, but I'm definitely not anymore.
What are you saying? You're my wife.
You didn't seem to think so a week ago, and now you're coming back and begging me to come home? It's kind of pathetic, really. But no matter what you do, I'm definitely not coming home now.
Come on, don't be like this. We need you here.
Oh, you do? That's a first.
Stop messing around. I'm serious.
Why do you need me now? You said you'd be fine before.
The house is totally filthy. The trash keeps piling up. And there's no food in the house at all. Can't you just do something to help us?
No, I can't. Nor do I ever want to.
Why not? You absolutely can. You did all this stuff for ages.
Sure, that was the old me, from before you decided I wasn't worth keeping around. Now I've decided I'm done putting up with this abuse. Maybe if you and your son were even a little bit grateful for everything I've done, I might be willing to come back. All you did was take me for granted. What, did you think the house just magically cleaned itself? The fairies cooked your food and did the dishes. That all the groceries magically appeared in the fridge?
No, of course not. We were grateful. We still are. We just didn't know how to show it.
Well, you knew how to show how much you hated me.
Oh, please, come back.
No, thank you. I see no good reason to.
Why not?
You agreed to the divorce, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess I did. But that was then. This is now.
Then there's nothing more to say. Once the papers are processed, we'll be divorced. I won't be your wife anymore. If we're not married, I have no reason to keep taking care of you. I'm no better than a stranger to you.
Then who's gonna do all the cooking? And the cleaning? And the shopping? Ricky's just too busy with school and his job at the library to do it. You have plenty of time to do it. Come home and help us. We're your family.
How do you not get it?
Get what?
The moment I walked out of that door, I stopped being your wife. I don't live at your house. Why would I cook and clean for free? Maybe if you paid me my hourly rate, I might think about it.
Pay you? You're kidding.
I'm not. And anyway, I doubt you could afford me. Why not hire a maid? She can take care of you since you're so useless.
I'm not hiring a maid.
Well, I'm not about to do it for you. Figure it out, you idiot.
Who are you to call me an idiot?
Just some stranger you're texting when you could be cleaning. You don't care about me any more than some random person on the street. So why should I care about you? Maybe you can hire someone to care. I doubt you'll be able to find anyone. Either way, it won't be me, though. Here's an idea. Maybe you can ask that girl you were seeing. What was her name? Lana. That name sounds pretty familiar.
How do you know about her?
You weren't exactly secretive about it. My girlfriend said they saw you and her out at dinner, and you gave her a huge diamond ring. No wonder we were struggling to get by, with you blowing all that money on jewelry for other women. And she was married too. I wonder if you even care about Ricky. Not that he cares about you. All he does is sit inside and play video games all day. And all you seem to care about is other people's wives. I wonder what Carl will think when he hears you and Lana were close.
How do you know about that?
Oh, I came to your work one day. The receptionist was kind enough to tell me all about Carl and his trophy wife. She knew all about the affair. Turns out when you insult a poor woman like her all day, she has a lot of motivation to dig up dirt about scumbags like you two.
That pig? I'll have her fired.
Oh, don't worry, she's quitting soon. I found her a job with my publisher. She seems quite happy to be working somewhere where she's actually appreciated. But you better hold on to your job. I spoke with my attorney. We'll be suing you for whatever we can, and I'll definitely try and get alimony. I think what we have is enough to convince a judge, but these texts will definitely be the cherry on top.
But how? Aren't we divorced already?
Not quite yet. It's yet to be filed. And there's just enough time to request changes before it goes through. I've already got the process started. You'll be receiving new papers from my attorney soon. I'm glad it ended up working out this way. Why should I stay with a husband who doesn't love me and a son who'd rather see me dead? I really should be thanking you for giving me this opportunity to start over.
What are you going to do after you get divorced? There's no way you can support yourself.
I'm doing quite well with my writing. My agent thinks I might be able to get a book deal. But I won't even need it with your alimony checks.
Are you really going to ask for alimony? I can barely afford to live on what I make already. You're just going to sit around and live off my paychecks.
Don't worry, I'll be plenty busy. My company's starting to take off.
Company? What company?
You really don't pay attention to anything I say, do you? I started a company last year to support my writing work. We publish articles about local businesses and restaurants. We've got a bunch of promising young journalists on our payroll. That's how I've been making enough money to put Ricky through school. Since what little you make barely covers our expenses. Did you really not realize?
I guess not.
In fact, I've been making more than enough to cover everything. The mortgage, the bills, food. And good thing too, since your entire salary goes to pay off your credit card debt. You really should pay more attention to your finances.
What am I gonna do now?
Maybe you should break it off with Laura. That might save you a few bucks. And instead, use what little you make to support yourself and your son. You won't see a red cent from me, that's for sure.
Come on. Come back. Don't let us live like this. At least come back for Ricky's sake.
Ricky doesn't want me there any more than you do. In fact, he was the one who told me to get out first. And anyway, he's an adult now. If he doesn't want my help, I'll respect his wishes. Like you should with mine.
Then come back for me at least. Don't let me rot like this.
You were the one who threw me out of my own house and asked for a divorce. And now you're crawling back to me? Begging me to come home and dote on you like a helpless child? I'm not interested. Now that I have the time, I'm going to take care of myself. Maybe join a gym, slim down a bit. I'm actually looking forward to it. Maybe I can find a new husband, one who actually appreciates me for who I am and doesn't treat me like a slave. Hope you can figure it out. But stupid animals like you don't know how to do anything. Good luck, you dirty dog. After that, the judge agreed to reconsider the terms of divorce. With all the testimony and record of Susan's conversations with Kevin, she got everything she wanted and more. Kevin was ordered to pay alimony despite attempts to fight it. All his appeals were rejected by the judge, and he saw nearly half his paycheck go to pay off his debt to Susan. Susan, who was making more than enough from her own work, decided to donate it to charity. Kevin could no longer afford to pay for Ricky's tuition, and Ricky was forced to drop out of school. Ricky had no choice but to work to support himself and could only afford community college after his dad began to pay alimony. Meanwhile, Susan's company took off, eventually being bought by a massive media conglomerate. She also managed to get a book deal, and her book sold millions of copies in its first week. She now lives in a beautiful penthouse suite in a high-rise apartment with her new husband. They're expecting their first kid in the fall. Susan, feeling some motherly instinct, was kind enough to help Ricky re-enroll and pay for some of his tuition with her royalties, but they never did manage to mend their relationship. As for Kevin, he's still stuck in his dead-end job and working alongside Carl, a fellow divorcee. Him and Carl don't get along terribly well these days, but he has no choice but to keep working to keep on top of all of his debt.
Hey there, office drone. Guess whose son just got hired to work at your same company? Could it be the son of the largest shareholder? That's right, you guessed it. Oh, I see. That's right. This company finally recognized a genius such as myself. There was some pretty fierce competition over who would hire me in the end, really. But thanks to my dad pulling a couple of strings for me, what with him being the primary shareholder and all, I ended up here. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is, don't forget whose son I am. Got it?
Yes, I'll make sure to keep that in mind. So, what does this mean as far as the actual job is concerned?
Frank! You don't seem to understand yet. Your new job is to do whatever I say and don't ask questions, okay?
You want me to do whatever you say? Do you have any concrete examples of the type of request you might be making of me?
What? Are you stupid or something? Geez, do I really have to explain every single little detail to you?
I am sorry if I'm a little confused.
You're really gonna try and make me spell this out for you. Okay, I will make this as simple as possible for your tiny little brain. Here, I'll even write some instructions so you don't forget. Every morning when I go to work, I want you waiting in front of the building with an Americano from the cafe across the street. And anytime I have overtime, I'll be sure to pass the work on to you. I'll also be sure to make sure you handle any claims that I might be asked to deal with. Not to mention, any miss or mistake will also be coming down on you. Got it? And whenever I ask, I expect you to go and find out the numbers of any woman in the office that I point out. It is also now one of your new duties to make sure that my desk is always kept in pristine condition. And whenever I tell you to do something, you will answer it with, "Yes, sir." Do you understand everything I've written here? I feel like I kept it pretty simple for you.
No, I'm afraid I don't understand at all. None of that had anything to do with work at all.
Oh, so the office peon is gonna put on a fight, huh? Do you really think that's so wise given your position? Have you forgotten that my father is the largest stakeholder for the entire company? If you try and fight me, all I have to do is speak to my father and you'll be fired.
I just don't think that it's very appropriate for you to be lording that kind of authority over others.
And that is exactly what some poor guy who's never had any kind of real power wouldn't get. In this world, power is everything.
I really hope that you don't see the world in those terms.
It's the only way the world can be seen by great people. And that's my whole family is made up of. My brother, my cousins, my grandfather, even my niece. Every single one of them is a high-ranking officer of some of the largest companies in the world. It is our birthright. We're above having to listen to petty gripes of poor people like you. So good luck being my slave from now on.
Hello, Clarissa. Is everything all right?
Oh, Frank, thank you for earlier. Kyle was just about to make me go to lunch with him.
So he was able to pass all of his work to you, but at least you managed to avoid the lunch.
If I'm being honest with you, I'd rather be buried in paperwork than ever have to take that violent, narcissist scumbag out to lunch.
Yeah, he really seems to have a thing for you, I think.
No, that's not it. He's just hooked on the idea of trying to make every woman in the office his personal secretary. He's honestly such a scumbag. He only sees women as things to be won. And he's always threatening to have us fired.
That's horrible. I'm so sorry to hear that. I think we really need to do something about him.
I agree, as long as it doesn't get us into trouble. But I really am thankful for you always helping out around the office. The thing is, now I'm just really worried about doing anything that might draw any more attention from him.
Well, I don't mind at all. Leave it to me. Anyway, if anything happens again, just let me know. I'll do my best to help out, however I can.
Thank you, Frank. The same goes for you. If you need anything, just let me know.
Yeah, of course.
And if that creep ever pulls anything shady with you too, you can always talk to me. In the end, we might not be able to do anything about that guy, but as long as we can have someone to talk to about him with.
Clarissa, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey there, my loyal servant. How did you like the taste of a knuckle sandwich earlier?
You really are a piece of work. Do you know that?
Aw, is the little baby at home while his mommy nurses him back to health? It's almost bedtime for you, isn't it, real guy? Well, this is exactly what you got for trying to get between me and Clarissa with your pathetic little speech about leaving her alone.
Are you serious? You don't think that maybe you just went a little overboard?
Well, the lady is mine either way. Got it, punk?
I really don't think that she feels the same way for you, and I think we'd all appreciate it if you quit messing around while at work.
Excuse me? Oh, you've really got a mouth on you now, don't you? You've got some nerve talking to me like that. Do you really think that some office monkey peon like you stands a chance against such a powerful family like mine? Try it and I'll beat you into a pulp again. I hit you because you were forgetting your place in the food chain and tried to disobey me. Did you know that with just a word to my father, I could have you fired?
But your father is right here begging for my forgiveness as we speak.
He's what? My dad is doing that? And he's apologizing to me? What are you talking about? Where is he?
That's right. He's apologizing right here, right in front of me.
Shut your mouth. My dad would never. You're lying to me. My dad isn't the kind of person who would apologize to some lowly worker drone just for a little scrape with his son.
And yet here he is just doing that. He's in my home as we speak. We're sitting at my table right now.
I don't believe you. This conversation has gotten ridiculous. And just why would my father take the trip all the way just to meet with you?
Well, his son did beat up the grandson of the chair of the board after all. It's only natural that he would go out of his way to apologize, don't you think?
Wait, sorry. What are you talking about?
I must have forgotten to tell you, but my grandfather is the chairman of the board.
Huh? Wait, you're trying to tell me that you're the chairman's grandson?
That's right. I'm none other than the prized grandson of my doting grandfather, chairman of the board. Ever since my dad died, my grandpa has been the acting company president. But in the future, all managerial rights will be transferred to me and I will take over the company.
But you can't do that. My father is the primary shareholder. My dad is even stronger than the company president. You could never do that.
I'm afraid that is where you're wrong, Kyle. Of course, the president of our company holds more power than your father. Or don't you know? Your dad only holds 3% of the company's stocks.
What? Do you even hear yourself? My dad is the primary shareholder. Now I know you're just lying to me.
The thing is, when the company first started, it was done with the assistance of many different investors. So most of the investors are just small shareholders.
And my dad is the largest with just 3% of the company?
Yes, it finally seems like you're starting to get it. Anyways, your dad is actually about to be arrested for carrying out insider trading.
Wait, what?
That's the real reason he came all the way here to apologize to me. Actually, your dad was in the middle of trying to work something out with my grandfather when they both heard about our little scuffle. So I guess at this point his apology might not cut it for your poor dad. I still don't quite feel like forgiving him, if I'm being honest.
But if my dad's arrested then... Please, Frank, I'm sorry, I promise. I'm such an idiot, I don't understand anything, so please. I'll sit and reflect on my actions. I'll think about all the things that I did wrong, so please forgive us.
Okay, I'll forgive you. If you quit.
You want me to quit?
Well, it's like you said. For all the things that you did wrong, it's only natural you should be fired. You never do your job. All you do is act belligerent and bother everyone else in the office. Don't you think that an employee who acts like that should be fired?
Please, anything but that. I'm begging you here. How am I supposed to apply for work at other big companies with the firing on my record?
Anyways, I need to start on this damages report, which I will need to file with the police.
But why? If I'm arrested, that'll be even worse than a firing.
Speaking of arrests, right after you joined the company, you let out some of the company's top secret information to your dear old dad, didn't you?
Me? No, I don't remember doing that.
And just after you did that, your dad went and bought more stocks, didn't he? Which means that you'll probably also be arrested as an insider and collaborator. And those charges are going to be alongside the assault ones, so it seems that you'll be in for quite the pinch.
Wait, now just a minute, please. Why are you talking about having me arrested all of a sudden? You think I was helping my dad with insider trading? Do you even have proof of the kind of accusations that you're making right now?
Oh, I do. I received some from Clarissa.
Clarissa did what?
You left behind plenty of proof of the trades you made. There's not a jury alive that would find you innocent.
No, you've got it all wrong. She just set me up, that's all.
You're saying that Clarissa set you up?
The truth is that she was threatening me. She was mad at me for turning her down, so she's trying to set me up as some kind of petty revenge.
So you're saying that Clarissa leaked the information to your dad. She's the inside trader?
Exactly, yes. She was in charge of the meeting where we talked about the classified information, and then after that she was telling her friends what stocks to buy. And then she told my father and I about some stocks to buy as well. That's exactly what happened, I promise. I was just doing what Clarissa suggested. I promise I've never done anything like insider trading in my life. The only one who should be punished for all of this is her.
Wow, you came up with that lie right away, didn't you? What you were saying about Clarissa going to her friends to tell them what stocks to buy was actually because ours were about to take a hidden price. I've already confirmed all of this with Clarissa herself.
What are you trying to say?
One of the conditions that Clarissa accepted for going back on that deal was that our stock price would dip slightly. So she went to some of her more wealthy friends to ask them for some support.
So then, how much profit did this time's stock purchase make?
It made no profit at all. But the problem isn't this time's. The problem is last time's purchase.
What do you mean?
I think you might be forgetting that I talked to your dad who leaked all that info to you right after joining us. You told him to buy as much as he could right away. And in the end, your dad ended up making a cool $3 million with that info, didn't he? That's where you come in as an inside trader.
No, that's just a coincidence. I promise that I never leaked any information, ever.
Did you really think that no one would ever find out? And did you really think there was no one else in the whole office when you committed your crime?
I had no idea anyone knew about that.
It's too bad, really. You're not even a good criminal. That's right, there was someone. Clarissa caught the whole exchange you made with your father and recorded it from the camera on her computer.
Wait, what? She recorded me?
Yep, I guess she was just careless and happened to leave the camera on. She must have just forgotten to stop the recording from her laptop once the meeting was over. So I guess the computer just continued recording even after she went home.
And you can see me talking on the phone in this video?
That's exactly right.
So you're really gonna have me fired and then arrested? Are you really so cruel? Do you know who I am? Who my family is?
Yep, that's basically the gist of it.
No, you can't. I'll be ruined. What'll happen to my career if you do this to me? I'll be left with nothing.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You really will be left with nothing. Speaking of, good luck finding another job at a company like this one. I can't think of a single place that would hire a convicted inside trader like you've become.
Then, how am I supposed to find a new job? What am I supposed to do for work if you're saying that no one will hire me?
Don't worry, I'm not done with you yet.
What? Please, show me some mercy. What else have I done?
Not you. I just don't think you should think too lightly about what my grandfather has in store. Your little sister, who was planning on joining the company next year, we've decided not to move ahead with her hiring.
You're even gonna go after my sister?
You know my grandfather is known as a kind of don of the financial world around these parts. I don't think there's a single company in the country where someone hasn't heard of him. And because of that, he is going to be putting a permanent hiring freeze on all members of your family.
A permanent hiring freeze?
Your elite family, your brother, your cousin, your grandpa, your niece, they're all fired.
Wait, please, just make this stop. You can't be serious. You can't fire all of us for this. Isn't that unfair? There's no way you could even make sure a whole family of people don't find jobs. Have you gone crazy? What are you even talking about?
Oh, it's not me doing all of this. It's all thanks to my grandpa. Besides, every single one of you are trash that belongs in the garbage anyways. Especially you. So proud after hitting someone, it's enough to make my blood boil.
What?
But it's not just you, Kyle. It's your whole family. I bet the whole family participates in some kind of insider trading within their companies. And I bet you knew all about it before joining mine. So you probably all profited off your little info leak.
No, I promise. I just started here, that's all. Besides, this is my first time ever doing something like this. So please, have some mercy. Can't you just forget about all of this and let me go just this once?
The lies just roll out of you naturally, don't they? There's no one left to help you here. Besides, you don't have any power in this company anymore.
What are you saying?
Just who do you think you are talking to someone this much better than yourself? After all, in this world, if power isn't everything, right? After that, one by one, all the Anderson family were arrested for insider trading. The family's crimes were quickly picked up by the news, and soon everyone knew all about what the Andersons had done. And the prodigal son, whose charges included among them assault, had plenty of articles written about him, exposing his explosive outbreaks and ways in which he bullied his coworkers. But wait, there's more. The entire Anderson family, which rode on their own coattails to success, entirely collapsed with none of the family members able to find secure employment. As for me, the one who exposed all these wrongdoings, I'm working hard to learn about leadership from my grandpa as I prepare to become the next official company president. And after a few years working in the position, when everyone has gotten used to the idea of me being in charge, I'm planning to propose to Clarissa. After all, in this world, power is everything, right? That's why every day I'm working as hard as I am to become a manager that everyone can respect. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.